brackets today. Okay, so there are 2 pages we have to do. They are all revision. So let's start this one. So we're going to expand the brackets. How do we expand these? Just times the number outside the bracket with every term inside the bracket. So in that case, you get negative 3x, but negative times negative is positive, become plus 15, right? Okay, good. Okay, let's move on. Next one, same thing. 2x times 1 is 2x. 2x times x is 2x squared. Okay, yep. Thank you, good. How about 3/4? Same thing. So you go 3/4 times ax plus 3/4 times 5. And then, of course, the quarter cancel with the 8, which becomes 2 over here. So you just go 2 times 3 is 6. Now, if you can't do that, you can always use your calculator and find 3/4 of 8. It should give you 6, like that, all right? Or you can do it by hand. And the next one, you go 15 over 4, because 3 times 5 is 15. Yep. All right, all good. Okay, done. Next question. There's 2 brackets, so you just have to expand both brackets and collect like terms. So x times 2x is 2x squared. X times 1 is x. Negative x times 3 is negative 3x. Remember, there's a negative sign that goes with the x. They are together. Right? So when you times the second term, it's negative x times negative x, which become positive x squared. Okay, be careful. That negative stays with the x. And then you have to collect like terms. These 2 are like terms, 3x squared. And then negative x minus 3x is negative 4x. That's it. Any question? Right, so we've done these basic ones. And then there's some harder one involving binomial products, like the perfect square. And there's also the difference of 2 squares. So we're going to prove all of these again. But these formulas should be known to you. You should memorize them. Need to memorize. I saw some people highlight the formula. That's a very good thing to do. I should do that too. Highlight this. Right? Highlight. Okay, let's get back to the normal pen. Okay. Now, this is important. Now, why is it so? Why is a plus b squared becomes this? Because if you expand this, you get a squared plus ab plus ba plus b squared. And what happened with the 2 middle terms? They are like terms, which becomes 2ab. That's where the formula comes from. But you need to memorize this perfect square formula. Okay, memorize. So it's a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Now be very careful not to get confused with the other rule. Had this been times, you just have to square both. But it doesn't work with plus, isn't it? You can't just go a squared plus b squared and forget the middle term. See the difference? When there's a plus and a times, it's completely different. When it's a times, it's easy. Square a, square b. But it doesn't work with the plus. It's a different formula. Okay? See the difference? All right. We're now going to do the other one with the minus. So there's 2 formulas you have to remember. 1 plus, 1 minus. So you do the same thing. To prove it, you have to, hang on, wait. Come. One more. Okay. Right. Sit down. Okay, good. So we're going to go a times a is a squared minus ab minus ba plus, double minus is plus b squared. And because of this, the 2 middle term will be add up to negative 2ab plus b squared, a squared. So the 2 formulas are very similar, except that this one has a minus. Okay, it's not hard to remember. Again, let me remind you to highlight this formula. Okay, memorize it. Very important. It will help you. Because I think most of you, all of you will be doing at least tuner maths or extension maths. So make sure you know this. Okay, good. Once we do this, we can then do the next one. The next one is called the difference of two squares. So what's the difference of two squares? There's a plus c, there's a minus c. These are, and you will get a squared minus b squared. Whereas the other one, both are minus or both are plus, right? These are perfect square, both has to be the same. But when it comes to this one of them has to be plus, one of them has to be a minus. And the result, if you times them, you're going to get a squared like before, negative ab, but plus ba, and minus b squared. What will happen? The two middle term cancels. That's why you only get two terms left, which is called the difference of two squares. A squared minus b squared. That's it. That's the three formulas that you have to use today. And we're going to do some questions. Okay, so let's do this. Alright, so if you move down, there's some question we'll have to do. Now this one is not perfect square because they are different. So you can't use these formulas. So that means I have to just expand like this, right? Doing the long way. So you go x times x is x squared, x times 4 is 4x, 5 times x is 5x, and then 5 times 4 is 20. And if you collect like terms, what do? You get 9x. Okay, so you get this quadratic expression. Quadratic means there's an x squared term. Quadratic means square in Latin. Any question? And then the next two pages, we're going to use these perfect square formulas. Remember the highlighted ones. We're going to use them, okay? Make sure you memorize them. Let's go to the next page. Yes, there's some perfect square formulas we have to expand. Let's do this. Now, if you still don't know them, you can always write the formula next to it to help you. So remember, a minus b squared is a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. Use the formula. Okay? So you're going to think the x is the a, the 4 is the b. Okay? So you just go, using the formula, you go x squared minus 2 times x times 4. Notice that minus, I don't put the next to 4, we'll put the minus here, right? The formula says just to put the minus there, the b is that positive b, 4. And then you write plus 4 squared. And then if you simplify that, you're going to get 8x plus 16. Right? So that's the perfect square formula. So do that each time. And then you have to be careful, the next one's not perfect square. One's a plus, one's a minus. That will be difference of two squares. Let's write it down. A plus b, a minus b, that becomes a squared minus b squared. Will save you a lot of time if you know these formulas, and it's more accurate. But this one, be careful, when you square the a, which is the 2x, you have to put a bracket, 2x bracket. Why do I have to put a bracket? Because not just you're squaring the x, you square the 2 as well. So it's actually 4x squared. If you just write 2x squared minus 1, that will be wrong. You can't, you have to square the 2 as well. Okay? So to square the 2, you put a bracket around the 2x, and you square both the 2 and the x. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Now the next one, it is not a perfect square, it is not difference of two squares, they are different. So what do? You just expand normally. Okay? Which means that you have to draw the arrow. 2x times 3x, 6x squared. 2x times 5, 10x. And then negative 1 times 3x, negative 3x, and then minus 5. Yeah? And as always, the middle two terms interact with each other. They need to be collected, simplified, which becomes 7x. Yeah, so we got this. Any question? Right? Okay. And then we got 2 more of this, and we're done. Now remember, these things need to be factorized later on. So now we're doing expanding. In the next few lessons, we're going to learn how to factorize these. Okay? All right, let's move on. Okay, next one. What if there's a 2 in front? Do you times the 2 first? No, you have to times the bracket first. So you're going to times expand this first. Okay, be very careful. Expand this first. So what you do is put the 2, and you just go x times x, x squared. X times negative 2, negative 2x, negative 3x, and plus 6. And then collect like terms. The 2 middle terms become negative 5x. Notice that I put a bracket, and you need to put a bracket because you still have a 2 in front waiting to be multiplied. If you don't put a bracket, that would be wrong. You need to put a bracket because I'm going to times by the 2 next, right? So the next step is to multiply by the 2. So you go 2 times x squared, 2 times negative 5, negative 10x, and then 2 times 6 is 12. Done. Okay, any question? Pretty easy. Okay, we'll go one more, then we're done. Okay, just one more, just this one. Okay. All right, let's look at what that means. So in this one, there's a minus in between. So you can just ignore it for first, but you need to draw 2 brackets because these 2 has to be subtracted. So what you do is you're going to go x times x is x squared, x times 4, 4x, plus 2x, plus 8. And do the same thing with the other one. X times x is x squared, x times is negative 5x, negative 2x, plus 10. And then you need to collect like terms. So how do we collect like terms? So this was 6, like that. And the other one is x squared minus 7x plus 10. Again, put the bracket because you're going to subtract them. Now, hopefully, some of you see a quick way, a trick to do this, because you just have to do 2 times 4 is 8, 2 plus 4 is 6, isn't it? So you can just go straight to this step if you want to. Same for that one. Negative 2 plus negative 5 is negative 7. Negative 2 times negative 5 is plus 10. So you don't have to go through this step. You can go straight to this if you want to. Okay? Now, this is the important bit. The first 3 terms, no change. But the last 3 terms needs to change because there's a minus. So you go like this. So it becomes negative x squared, but plus 7x minus 10. Yeah? So that's why I keep the bracket to remind you that I'm going to expand the negative. And when there's no number, it's like having a negative 1 in front. Negative 1. So negative 1 times x squared is negative x squared. Negative 1 times negative 7 is positive 7, etc. And then, of course, the final step is to collect like terms. The x squared gets cancelled. The 6x gets collected, which is 13x. And 8 minus 10 is negative 2. Is your final answer. You need to show this work in your book. If you are just writing from here to there with no working, I assume you copied the answer. Okay, so you need to show working. Any question? So we're going to start a new topic. So of course you're going to fill this out. Write today's date. The first exercise. Write the date now. And then you can get the textbook and start the work. Well done. Good. Thank you. Just ask me.